What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 6T3. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for stopping by. Real quick, before we get into the video, if you didn't mind hitting a like on this video, possibly subscribe to the channel if you are brand new here. I'm doing all this with as you can tell, I'm a little nasally, so I canceled the live stream Thursday because I came down with a bit of a head cold. My throat hurt quite a bit. Just felt in general under the weather. I was sick. I know that's a different term nowadays, but I was just sick. And yeah, so I'm still feeling that. It is Saturday. I'm feeling a little better. I actually got to go and race some go-karts, indoor go-karts, electric go-karts. So well, let me talk about that after the video. We'll get all the fun stuff out of the way first. Kart 6T3 is brought to you by Track Tack Tire Treatments. Track Tack Tire Treatments. Track Tack Tire Treatments. Track Tack Tire Treatments. Treatments for tires and tracks. If you have any questions about tire prepping, if you are new to tire prep, feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. You can find me, Ben Taft, on Facebook, Ben_Taft63 on Instagram, Kart6T3@gmail.com. All of which will work. My messenger works, although sometimes my Kart 6T3 Facebook page, I forget to answer those sometimes, and I'm sorry. So I've been meaning to do this video for a while. Just scrolling through, I was just like, you know what? This is a good one to hit because we will be coming into the new season. Next year, you know, there's going to be new karters coming in, and I have to do some of these videos definitely to let them know what's up. So we're thinking of a brand new karter who's never heard of this stuff. So when somebody mentions that it's a big tube chassis or a small tube chassis, what is it? What do they mean? Boy, that was terrible. What do they mean by that? Apparently sickness has affected my speech as well. All right, 1 second. Okay, take two. That did not go as well as I had hoped. The sickness has gotten into my speech pattern as well, apparently. Anyway, so you are brand new to the sport. You're coming in and you want to buy even a used chassis. You're looking on Facebook Marketplace. You're looking on, some of the Facebook groups, the Northeast, carts and parts for sale, whatever it is. And somebody in their listing is going to mention maybe that it is a big tube chassis or a small tube chassis. Well, what is it that they mean by this? This is the intent of the video is to help you understand what they mean by that. What they're actually talking about is the thickness of the tube. Now, most modern chassis are made from 1.25 inch standardized tubing. That is the diameter of the tubing. The whole chassis pretty much made up of 1.25 inch tubing for the most part. There are some crossbars people play with, but in general, that's what we're speaking about. Now, the thickness of the wall of the tubing. So you have the tubing that the outside diameter is 1.25 inch, which is fine, but how thick that actual steel is what they're referencing. So, for instance, right here to my left, you're right, I'm looking at a 2022 Phantom Scythe. This is an 095 chassis. This would be considered a large tube chassis. Now, what does that mean? This means it is going to be stiffer. The standard type scythe and the other measurement that you're going to be used, so we're talking about thousandths of inch, when a small tube chassis is mentioned, that is going to be 083 tube. So again, just the thickness of the steel. What does that mean, all together here? When something is a big tube chassis, it is going to be made for somebody who's going to be a little bit heavier. Somebody such as myself. I'm 220 pounds, 220.6. Last I checked, I put on a bit. And in this particular chassis, I run an open cart on, so it's going to take a lot of abuse. You're going to want a slightly stiffer setup, a slightly more robust type of setup when you're dealing with somebody who is a little heavier. Now, does that mean that the 083, the small tube chassis, won't work for that? Absolutely not. It's going to, when you run a small tube chassis, it's going to probably benefit you a little bit more when you're looking to get bite in a track that doesn't have a lot of bite. It's gonna, because of the thinner wall tubing, it's gonna want to move a little more and get into the track. That's just my personal take on it. Now, I might have some detractors saying, no, that's not how we designed them. I could be wrong, but that's the way I've always understood it. If you're a junior driver, if you're a lighter driver, even if you're an adult and you're weighing a $120, I wouldn't choose a big tube chassis. I would not choose an 095 chassis. I would choose an 083 chassis because it's just going to be a little more suited for your size. Any kind of junior drivers, any kids coming up, if you're, whether or not you're putting the pedals in an adult chassis to bring the pedals to a child, I would be running a smaller tube chassis. Now, have they ever experimented with other things? Absolutely. That's off the top of my head, I can't quite think of it. There's a real big manufacturer used to deal a lot in 1 3/8 chassis. Now, that's a lot. My dad ran some, and I'm drawing a blank. As soon as in post, when I'm editing this video, I'm going to put the name right here, unless, of course, I think of it in the next couple seconds here. Anyway, they designed the whole chassis out of 1 3/8, which made it extraordinarily stiff. Now, these were intended Prowler. Nailed it. You got it. I knew it was coming to me. Prowler did an entire chassis in 1 3/8. Now, that was way back in, I believe, the early 2000s. Best I can remember. And they may have played with it since, but I just haven't paid attention. It made the chassis extraordinarily stiff, but it made it consistent because you couldn't move it. So if you wanted it to behave exactly like, on lap 1 as it did on lap 20, you got that. As far as a chassis standpoint, it wasn't going to move. It was very stiff. Now, throughout the years, people have played around with just running the right side rails at 1 3/8. They have also run in 1 3/8 just the outside rail. So you had 1 1/4 inside rail for your motor mount side, and then 1 3/8 on the outside. I saw that done quite a bit in the 2000s there. But everything's kind of come back around to a standardized 1 1/4. They just now play with the tubing thicknesses, and sometimes they go to different tubing thicknesses in between. So you might also find that even though something is an 095, a crossbar, a front hoop, something like that, they may be playing with 083 there. They may be playing with an inch in an 8 there. And that's just a handling type of thing. That's getting the chassis to do what they want it to do. But I thought this was a fairly relevant discussion to have here, or a topic to hit, because all the new chassis I just did, a couple videos ago there, obviously anybody's paying attention to Phantom. They just released their Tricon, which is, it handles like a Triton and rolls like a Recon. Ooh, it's very tempting. I'm broke, but it's very tempting. And also, with Premier coming out with their V3, obviously, I'm a big proponent trying to get the Demon brand out there, get that Asylum going there. I think what DSE and Denver Smith have going, I think that's awesome. I think it's not only a budget, a really priced right type of chassis for what you're getting. It looks high quality to me, and for everything I know, Denver's a super smart individual. Anyway, enough about that. I thought this was a good topic for a new racer. That it just, maybe you're reading and you just don't understand. You want to get your kid into it, you want to get into it, and somebody says, "Hey, it's a big tube chassis." What does that mean? What does that mean to somebody just getting into the sport? Well, I hope this helped a little bit to understand that it's a stiffness. Basically it's a stiffness rating. The 095 is going to be a little stiffer than the 083, big tube versus small tube. So there you go, guys. As I'm heading out here, I'll put it up. I put up a short earlier. I did some Indy Kart action. My son's turning 19. Well, it'd be today. So it's Sunday. Turning 19, and we're headed up. We're just going to do, a birthday dinner and what have you. Go to what we call the city. It's not really a city. It's a suburb of a city. Rochester, New York. Anyway, Henrietta. In Henrietta, they have this karting place. We've never been, and we've walked by it a billion times. And he's just like, finally he's just like, for his birthday, he's just like, can we go and race there? So both him and I became members, and we raced. And I did fear a little because the kid's talented. He's becoming quite the bodybuilder. He's very structured. He's very disciplined. But also, the old man has been running karts for 20 plus years. And yes, I smoked his time. Now, does it mean it's always going to stand? No, he is like I said, he's a disciplined kid that if he sees fit and he really wants to work on it, if he goes up and gets more time, he's going to start, challenging me, which, that's... I tried initially. I was pushing the kart too hard. You can't dirt track a road course kart, especially one indoors, an electric throttle, and there's no throttle response. I was missing all the things that I have right here in this garage. So I just thought I'd tell you guys about that. It was a lot of fun. IndyCart wasn't super awful expensive. We became members, and then I think it's like $16 for a race after this. So we can just bounce up to we call the city and, take my kid out. We can go run a couple races and have fun, during the winter. So sounds like a blast to me. Anyway, there you go, guys. I appreciate every single one of you coming by. Remember that Kart 63 is brought to you by Track Tech Tire Treatments. Treatments for tires and tracks. Boy, I am still sick, aren't I? It's couple more days, it'll be all gone, and I'll be right as rain. Anyway, thank you all very much for stopping by, and I'll see you Thursday if I'm not sick. We'll do a live stream, and then we'll be back here for another video next Sunday. All right, later.